really?
Continue.
Oh. Well, okay. One more question?
Yeah. No, continue. I was just
Yeah.
like cutting the video. That way
Gotcha.
it doesn't cut in the middle of.
Sorry, I'm dumb.
One more question. I mentioned earlier that James doesn't know too much about rock. Just one general question.
What is that?
Yeah, what is that?
What did you guys do?
What is it?
I don't know, man.
I never agreed to that.
As far as I'm concerned, that's a conspiracy. That fucks with me, man.
This whole thing seems a bit suspect, frankly. What'd you say your name was?
But
I bet those aren't even your real dreadlocks.
Oh, my word! Oh, my word!
I'm sorry I blew up.
Stolen dreadlocks?
Yeah.
That's not cool, man.
Yes, they're terrible. They're terrible.
I've been nothing but a friend to you, sir.
But
I shoot from the hip.
But one last question.
All right.
How would you say, what makes rock and roll different than like any other genre to you?
I have an answer to that, and it's sort of corny because I learned it in a community college music course, and the course was being taught by a jazz vocalist. And I'm going to apologize in advance for this answer because it's corny, but I kind of think it's true. That I think what separates rock and roll from jazz or classical or several other genres is attitude. And I don't mean one kind of attitude. Nothing specific, but I think when you go and see a band that is a rock group, there's an element of you're not sure what's going to happen. Where I think when you go to a classical music concert or a jazz concert, whatever, you pretty much know what you're in for, and you're going to get that, and then you leave satisfied. But I think when you go to a rock gig, that's a show. That's what musicians call a gig.
A gig. When you're a musician, a job is called a gig.
Yeah, so you're gonna get some attitude.
I like to piggyback on that too. Rock and roll. I mean, the advent of rock and roll also sort of it happened to coincide with the advent of a particular demographic in society, like the teenagers in the 50s. I mean, prior to late 40s, 50s, the concept of teenagers didn't really exist. It was like you were a child and you went and plowed the fields, or you went and worked in the machine shop, but and then you were an adult and you bought a house, and that was that. And the whole the notion of teenagers and all the things inherent go along with that of rebelliousness and all of the teenage archetypes that we've all grown up with, that didn't always exist, and that concept sort of entered the public mindset at the same time that rock and roll was coming around. And so I think in that sense rock and roll has always sort of been it just again happened to coincide with this demographic, and so it's always been associated with rebelliousness, with youthfulness, with all of that fun stuff. Obviously, that was a long time ago, but I think it still exists in that way. And that's I think what most disenfranchised, rebellious teenagers still gravitate to, and it certainly is what I did.
Yeah, when your mom says, "Hey, son, do that again, but without the attitude." Well, as rockers, we're still doing it with the attitude.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm 38, but I still act like a 13-year-old with lots of attitude. I have an excess of attitude.
Yeah, me too. I had one other thing I was going to add to that. Don't remember. It's too bad. It's probably really good.
Metallica.
Well, guys.
I know that. Oh yeah, that's Metallica, the Black Album.
I think so.
I know that atrocious guitar tone and boring drum fill anywhere.
Do you guys have any insight on like the future rock and roll? Or is it just all up in the air?
I think it's just gonna keep. I mean, I think personally, I mean, as long as high school sucks and I don't know. I think in whatever form rock and roll takes, in the most broadest sense, I mean, I think that spirit is sort of inherent to the human experience in this game. And yeah, like, I mean, there's always going to be pissed off kids in the garage. There's always going to be weirdos in their basement writing symphonies that nobody's ever going to hear. I mean, I think that'll always exist in some form or another. And they might dress it up differently from year to year, and one year it might have some synths, and one year it might not, or whatever. But I think in our society, I think that's just an inherent presence that's always going to be there. I hope, anyway.
Awesome. I think that concludes
That's
our
about it, because the
interview.
sun.
All right, so when are we doing the real one?
Do you want my address to send the residuals next?
Skittle Nazis. There will be no Skittles. There will be no Skittles.
You guys are stifling me creatively. You're not keeping the talent happy.
I cannot taste the rainbow.
I can't work with this man.
It's like Spinal Tap's like, I want all the green M&Ms.
All right, Kareem, you want to stand right here?
All right. Yeah, I can sit right here. Is it all set?
Yeah, we're rolling.
Awesome. All right. First question up. How did you guys meet?
In high school.
Nice.
Actually, would have been 1993.
That's right.
We both went to the Purpose Center for Arts Education in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where we both grew up. Yeah.
Awesome. What are some bands that inspired you to want to do music?
For me, really early on, like when I was a real little kid, like when I was a toddler, I used to. My dad was a huge Zappa fan, and like I was real little, like listening to Frank Zappa records and Captain Beefheart and Tom Waits records with my dad. That was when I first. I mean, I pretty much decided that's what I wanted to do after I got over wanting to be like a cowboy.
Ooh, yeah. After I got through with the idea of being a bus driver, I wanted to be in a band. My parents raised me on the Beatles and the Dave Brubeck Quartet, and those were kind of my early inspirations as a kid.
How'd you guys think of the name Quee?
It's just nonsense. We wanted a name that was sort of vague and opaque and didn't conjure an image.
Yeah, we wish the band could be called, but it's just not loud enough.
Yeah.
When people say, "What's your group called?" and you say,
Yeah.
it just doesn't. They say "what" too many times, and then you're embarrassed.
Unfortunately, even in today's enlightened society, we're still really beholden to vowels.
Well, at least here in America, if you go over there to Eastern Europe, they don't have
Lord.
any vowels.
Man, we were in Hungary last autumn, last October or November, and there would be these street signs. It's like, no shit, like HZZRRRQ67, like.
Yep, 7.
There was numbers and like Red Hot Chili Peppers logos and stuff in the names of stuff. And then you go over to like the Netherlands, and they've got like, they spell like there's a city called Haarlem, just outside of Amsterdam, and it's got like 5 A's in it. It's like
Two U's as well. Halum.
Yeah, like it's like, I don't know, maybe in one of the big European wars, if the Netherlands plundered the East for all their vowels.
Well, and I think they've since, they've made an arrangement. At least they've forgiven each other, but there's still a trade embargo with the vowels. That's why you still don't see any vowels on the east and consonants on the west.
It's really something.
And it's the truth.
Yep.
Madness. Struggle. At least about our scene, would you say that the music scene has like a sense of like camaraderie between bands, or would you say it's all competition?
I think if I was to choose one, I would definitely say camaraderie. Though I wouldn't say that that's across the board.
Yeah.
I mean, we've never really been. I mean, we've always sort of been on the fringe of even like the sort of underground music scene here. Like we've never been the toast of the town, you know?
Yeah.
Certainly, like our friends who are in bands that bands that we like, or more so even than that, just bands that like we like as people that we play shows with, that we hang out and stuff. Tremendous camaraderie and lots of support. I mean, like
It's the reason we're still a band, is because we can still get our friends to give us shows.
But yeah, yeah, I think there's a real sincere celebration of one another's work, and and particularly like of our friends' successes. Beyond that, I don't know. I don't care. I've never really felt, especially like we're like particularly a part of the scene, and we've been around for a long time, but I don't know how to put it. Like I mean, we've always we've been a little more autonomous, I think.
Gotcha.
Rather than fitting into a particular specific scene or sound, we've always sort of existed in this sort of gray area between different groups or cliques or whatever.
Yeah.
Which has largely been the bane of our existence.
Yeah, and I think I think if you head west on a Friday or Saturday night, go to the Strip, and the bands that operate around there, where they have the handbills that have been coated nicely. those are the groups I think that are in competition. The bands that move to town for 18 months and then all get fed up and split or whatever. So anyway.
Yeah, I think it also. I think it's fair to say that any kind of competition or any kind of ill will that breeds amongst like bands around here is just ridiculous, because there's so very, very little to gain. I mean, you know what I mean? Like there's dozens and dozens of dollars to be made in being in a local rock band. Like there's not really any. It's not like if somebody has some success, it doesn't mean, it just means like it doesn't mean anything. It just means they're in the weekly that week instead of you. It's not like it's not like now somebody gets to buy a house where you don't. I mean, everybody's broke. I mean, it's all just to have fun. So I don't know. There's not a whole lot to compete for, I don't think.
Yeah. Mentioning of friends bands, are there any bands just like in town that you'd say that you like especially?
No.
Like?
No.
Local bands?
None of them.
I can't think of any in the last I don't know, not since Guns N' Roses has there been an LA band that I gave a shit about.
Are the Doors still playing? No. I feel like I just saw. Well, they just broke up. Our buddies playing a band called Stab City, who I just think are fantastic. But they keep breaking up and getting back together for like a weekend.
I think actually it's pretty genius. I think by doing this, where they were a band for I don't know how many years, they broke up, and then every 6 to 12 months they do a reunion show, and because it creates all this mystery and we'll never see him again, everyone comes to the show, and I think they're just going to keep doing that.
We should do that too.
I know. So I'm not even sure if they're technically broken up, but I just think that they're a terrific group and swell guys, and if I was a girl, I'd make out with them.
I feel like, we played with a band pretty recently called Wild Wing, who were just hilarious. They were really, really cool guys. I really enjoyed their whole thing. And their music was pretty different from ours, but really enjoyed their show. They very sloppy, really, really fairly belligerent. It was just, the whole thing was pretty absurd in a way that I really enjoy. I got a kick out of that. And I swear, like, I'm gonna remember like somebody that we ought to that we should mention, but I can't think of. Can't really think of anybody right now.
Gotcha. Let's see.
Actually, I did just think of one, and I think the record I think either came out a couple days ago or next Tuesday or something. But the band name is called Deradoorian, and it's my friend Angel Deradoorian, and actually her sister performs with her, Arlene Deradoorian, and they're a terrific pair. I can't even really describe the music. It's really out there, and but it's vocally driven, and I think that's what we're really digging these days is all the vocals. We just love to sing. But anyway, yeah, Deradoorian, great group.
Dumb Numbers.
Dumb Numbers. There's another one.
Yeah, they're technically local. They're sort of a rotating lineup of people, but the main guy lives here. And we're playing with them soon. We've played with them before.
Australian frog.
Yeah.
I don't trust him.
Can't really trust anyone in this day and age.
He's 40, but he looks 30.
Do the Melvins count? I mean, they live here.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're one of my favorite LA rock groups.
I like Big Business. All right, let's move on.
All right. This documentary is kind of like almost like a sociology project. But
You never said that. I wouldn't agree to this.
I'm a liar. I'm a damn dirty liar. But what is it like? The term hipster gets thrown out a lot. Like, would you say it's just some arbitrary term, or is it like actual hipsters or hipster culture?
I mean, I've heard that term bandied about for 20 years. It seemed like in the last 5 or 10 that it's become like a codified thing, where like they attach like the beards and the suspenders and banjos and shit. That's what a hipster is, and like $6 lattes or whatever. Prior to that, to me, it always just meant like some smarmy douchebag who hangs around the rock scene.
Yeah.
Who like is friends with all the bands or something.
Yeah. Absolutely. Let's see. How'd you get involved with like Burger Records? Did they catch you like a show or how did that?
Well, we're only vaguely involved with Burger Records insofar as we're planning on doing a 7-inch with them.
Gotcha.
We're doing cassette on NAR tapes, who are sort of affiliated with them. As far as how we got their attention, on Record Store Day this year, we got asked. A friend of ours asked us to do an in-store at Norburger, and we had just put out a 7-inch and stuff, so we went and did that, and then just sort of struck up a conversation with them.
Gotcha.
We also played a couple of shows with some Burger Records groups overseas.
Oh yeah, we did. Over in Europe.
Gotcha. Awesome.
We played with Tomorrow's Tulips in Harlem. And we played with a band called Burnt Ones in somewhere in Germany. Halle, Germany. Yeah. But that's really about it.
You know, I just got the dialogue going, at least just between Matt and myself. I mean, we weren't talking to them, Burger Records, but Matt was saying, "Hey, Paul, who's Burger Records?" And I would say something like, "I don't know. Why don't you look them up online?" And then he would say, "Okay, well, I'll look them up online."
Yeah.
And then after looking them up online, yes, there's the proof. They are in fact a record label.
Yeah. I like what they're doing.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool. I think this trend for the last several years toward EDM. It's been funny to watch. I'm old enough to have sort of seen this a couple of times, where EDM gets popular, and then everybody starts declaring that rock is dead and guitars are obsolete and it's all over. And, you know what I mean? I mean, that's been happening since the 70s and disco and all that shit. And it's the same thing that's been going on now. And it seems like labels like Burger and Lollipop, I mean, those are like, you know, the weird kids picking up guitars and making rock records again. I think it's really cool. I mean, it's clearly following in a tradition that you know that spans decades. You know, I mean, going back to Sub Pop in the late '80s, to SST, to you know, the Ramones. I mean, like all of that stuff. It seems. I mean, it's clearly the next chapter in that. I think it's really cool. That along with just, you know, the declared collapse of the music industry. That of course. I don't know, you know, like, there's this whole conversation about how with downloading and with digital distribution that there's not going to be any money to be made in records, and so great records are never going to be made, and there's never going to be this, and there's never going to be that, and you hear a lot of old people saying that, and a lot of old people with a vested interest in the old paradigm. As a fairly old person with no vested interest in that whatsoever, I mean, honestly say good riddance. You know, fuck them. Like, and to see then, in the wake of that, of all the big labels and all the big indies and all the big indie distributors, all of those entities going tits up, that of course a bunch of kids start putting out records and everybody loves it and the cycle of life continues. I think it's fucking great. And yeah, I don't give a rat fuck about, you know, save the A&R man. Fuck him. You know, I mean, we make more money now than we ever did in the old indie label paradigm. So I don't give a fuck about it.
Hold on.